All right, we'll try this again. I just tried to go live and the storm outside must have caused a bad connection and it cut out. So here we go, take two. Haven't done this in a while, so some people asked for it, so here I am, I'm back. See if I can get some of your questions and comments and, I don't know, try and connect with you guys. See what you're thinking. I get a couple questions every single day via email about the book, about follow-ups, about the podcast, and I appreciate it. For those of you that might be joining that don't know, my book is the Long Range Shooting Handbook. It was my attempt to take the complexities of long range shooting and make them simpler to understand, or at least relatable to somebody that was just starting out shooting. Hey Paul, what's up man? How are you? So the book has been very successful. You guys have been very supportive of it. I really appreciate it. Amazon has it on sale so cheap right now. I don't know why you just don't get it. It's like $10. Sticker price is $24.95, so I appreciate it. Everyone you buy, but even better when it's on sale on Amazon is the full amount that I go to charity, give to charity, goes to charity even though it's on sale. So I give 25% of my proceeds to charity based on the full price. So even if you buy it at $10, so more than 50% off, the charity still gets 100% of what they were going to get anyway. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody, so I really appreciate it. Speaking of the book, also, I will be at SHOT Show signing books in person at the Hornady booth. So I'm really excited about that. I have an event posted on this Facebook page that you can show if you're interested or going. I only have a couple hundred books that I'm bringing with me. I hope that's enough. And I also hope I'm not just sitting there with a couple hundred books and no one to give away to. But come on by. It's on Wednesday. I forget the time off the top of my head. I should probably have looked it up. But again, the event's here on the Facebook page. If you can make it to SHOT, please come by and check it out. I'd love to get a chance to meet you, give you a copy of the book. Now at the show, in the Hornady booth, I'm going to be taking donations only. So 100% of the book, anything you give then is going to go straight to charity. And I'm trying to get the Sua Sponte Foundation and Special Operations Warrior Foundation to be there with me. Hopefully they'll have some swag with them. They can give you some stuff, hopefully, or at least say hi and say they probably appreciate the support, because I know I really do. So let me look up some of the questions you guys have put in advance, and I'm here for you. So as long as you guys want to ask questions or comments, I'll address them. When you're done, then I'll stop. So somebody already put one in advance. Let me see what it says here. All right, Wade sent in a question. He said, for the best accuracy, bolt action or semi-auto? Well, bolt action. Semi-autos aren't as good, but you could see me hedging a little bit there. That's because semi-autos are coming a long way. By far, my favorite gun that I had in the military was the Mark 12 SPR. That is a accurized AR-15, and I'm not the biggest AR-15 fan, but that thing just shot so well and was so accurate. I really liked it. So yeah, bolt actions edge out a semi-auto, at least for now, but with modern manufacturing, with technologies getting better and better, these semi-autos are giving the bolt actions a run for their money, and that's why you see some of the precision rifle competitions are even starting to get a semi-auto class, because they can hold their own now. But if you're going just for group size, you're going for doing your own hand loads and trying to get as accurate as you possibly can, okay, bolt action, that's for you. But if you're just going to go out and have fun, you want a general purpose rifle that you can maybe use for hunting, you can use for plinking, you can have for defense, semi-auto is not a bad way to go. And one of the beauties of semi-auto is they're so interchangeable. I'm assuming an AR-15 platform. They're so interchangeable. You want to upgrade your barrel? You could probably do it yourself. You want to change your handguards, change your trigger. All those things are very easy to do by the user at home. So there's another reason semi-autos can win right there too. Some of the downsides of semi-autos is you have more parts to worry about. I built a bolt-action rifle. As long as it's headspaced properly and it's set up properly from the beginning, you're likely not going to have problems with feeding or extracting or ejecting or cycling. Those are all semi-auto problems. So take it as what you will. Bolt action's more accurate. Semi-auto maybe for more all around. Another question from Wade. Actually, two questions here, kind of two and a half. He asks, belted magnums or other? Do the fact that belted magnums headspace on the belt cause it to be inherent? Is the word cut off there? So maybe inherently less accurate? No, kind of. I mean, again, so the belt was put on these cartridges not only to help reinforce the base of the cartridge where it is less supportive in a chamber, but also when you had the original cartridges that came up and had more of a true bottleneck, like looked like a Coke bottle, not a sharp angle, it was hard to find a definitive spot to headspace off of. So they put the belt there not only for support, but also as a consistent spot they can measure from. So I don't know if it's necessarily less accurate because the belt. I don't like it. I don't like belted magnums just because I don't like reloading them. I don't like the concept of the theory, and to be honest, a lot of the things that we do or don't like is just based on feeling or like I said, theory. I also know that a lot of people that make belted magnum actions, they'll actually headspace off the belt and they'll cheat and headspace off the shoulder a little bit too. So really they're not completely just done off the belt anyway. So it's up to you. As far as hunting cartridges go, or for target shooting even, I don't like belted magnums also because they're not that fun to shoot. I mean, a 300 Win Mag is a beast of a round to shoot over and over and over out at the range. You can have much softer shooting, much easier shooting cartridges out there. I just think we're getting more advancements. You know, look at the Nosler series that came out, the 26, 28, the 30 Nosler. These are all just great advances in powders and bullet design. They're allowing you to get an incredible amount of power and energy out of a bullet without having to be a belted magnum, which just means it's going to feed in the magazine out of the rifle better. It's going to be easier to reload, all that stuff. So do it if you want. I'm not going to fault you for it, but I personally just don't like them as much. So I hope that helps. All right, got some more questions coming in. Which scopes do I recommend? Which car do you recommend, right? It's very difficult. I got to know the purpose. I use that car analogy. Andrew asked that question. I got to use this analogy all the time because people say, you know, what gun's the best or what scope is the best? Well, it depends on your purpose. You know, so if I use the cars, a pickup truck is the best if you're trying to haul lumber. You know, maybe a Prius is best if you're trying to get better gas mileage. And either one of those would be horrible for the alternate purpose. So how about, Andrew, I just throw out a few general purposes for scopes. The tactical precision rifle scope that I like to think of as the workhorse, kind of the benchmark that I would put on a school gun that I have as a rental gun in a sniper school, or again, general purpose threshold scope is the Leupold Mark IV. I just love those scopes. They're really strong, really tough, and they just work. And going up from there is where I think you actually get to the better scopes. I don't really recommend going below that at all. Unless you don't have the budget for it, well then get what you can afford. You know, some of the Vortex lines that are cheaper than that or less expensive are great options for you. They really are. I'm incredibly impressed with Vortex. My personal favorite scopes right now are the high-end Vortex scopes, but those go to the $2,000 to $3,000 range. So if you're on a budget, those aren't ideal, but I think you can't get a better piece of glass than those right now. For hunting, my favorite hunting scope is actually a Leupold again, but it's the Vari-X 3 2.5 to 8 because it's small enough, it's light enough, it's nice in a hunting rifle. And if you've happened to had a chance to read my book or hear me before, I don't believe in really high magnification. I don't think magnification is necessarily your friend. I think higher magnification can make you not shoot as well. I could think it can cause all sorts of problems. So hunting rifle, yeah, 2.5 to 8 Leupold. General target tactical rifle, Leupold Mark IV. And if money is no object and you want the best you can get, Vortex Razor Gen 2 is my personal favorite right now. All right, so Alan got a question for me. 308 in a bolt gun for 800 to 1,000 yards. Sure. Or 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, without knowing what else you have in your arsenal, 6.5 Creedmoor is what I'm going to recommend now. And for people that know me, I think I've always recommended the 308 first, so this is rare for me. But so many people are making components for it now, so many factory offerings, so many everything. I think I'm finally time to get on the 6.5 Creedmoor bandwagon. It is going to be less recoil. You're going to have a better time, shooting in the wind. You're going to have an easier time getting out to distance. It kind of beats it hand down. The only reason I say 308 and why I said I don't know your firearm collection yet is if you don't have anything yet and you're just starting, I kind of like the 308 still, even though it's a little bit of an underdog performance-wise to the 6.5 Creedmoor. You can find 308 everywhere. You can find a used 308 rifle from somebody else everywhere. You can find all the elevation data for it everywhere. You can be at the range and someone's going to be able to help you diagnose what's going on with that 308. It's just way more common. And I think you can learn on that for a long time. And when you're finally ready to upgrade, then go to the 6.5 Creedmoor if you want. Patrick, awesome. I like it too. Love the organization. Love Ed. He sent me a few shirts, and so I figure I might as well rep the Sua Sponte Foundation and put it on here. For those of you that don't know, I'm also an attorney, and Sua Sponte is just a Latin phrase, but it used in the legal world too. And every once in a while I'll wear this shirt, and I've had at least 2 in the last couple months. People think that it was a legal, reference shirt, which no, it's for the Ranger motto, Sua Sponte. Which for those of you out there that are Rangers that might be tuning in right now, you know as well as I do that Sua Sponte was supposed to be this great thing you're supposed to do, but every time I got in trouble, it seemed to be because I sua sponte'd. It means of your own accord, like to go do something on your own. But yet, invariably, every time I was in trouble, it's because of that. Paul brings up the 260 Remington also. Excellent choice, Paul. You're right. I mean, head-to-head, the 260 beats the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's got a little more case capacity. It's a great, great cartridge. Unfortunately, I just don't think Remington supported the product well. That might be a criticism of some companies coming out with products and then letting them kind of die. They could have dominated that market, but Hornady came along and took the 6.5 Creedmoor, which is so close to the 260, and really just let it take off. Now, I even have a 6.5 by 47 Lapua I'm building right now just because I want to be a little different, but they're all right there in the same category. So you're definitely right, Paul. If I'm missing your questions, I'm sorry. Some of them are coming in and I'm trying to pay attention and watch. Chris, thanks for asking a question. What target sizes for training? 2 minutes of angle or larger? Example, 400 yards, 8 inches. First off, good giving you an example. I love that you're following along with minutes of angle and everyone else can follow along too. That's exactly right. What size targets for training? Honestly, whatever targets are downrange, it's what I'll shoot at, right? Even if the target is too big maybe for your standards, you can always define a smaller part of the target that you want to hit. Right? So your acceptable area of a hit is up to you. And I bring that up a lot when I talk about shooting when unsupported positions. I talk about an acceptable amount of error in the system, and don't be so precise, just let the reticle move within what you've defined as the target. Well, Chris, for example, I'm not going to shoot, if I'm shooting at an elk, the whole elk isn't my target, just the kill zone is. So that was me defining that smaller spot on the bigger thing that I wanted to hit. You can do the same thing with targets. But if you want to challenge, yeah, you want to be able to run a certain distance with the rifle, yeah, 2 minutes is awesome. I think 1 minute is even great, but it's not realistic. I'm not going to do what a lot of other people in our industry do and make you think that every single time I pull the trigger I hit within 1 minute of angle or a third of a minute of angle. It's not going to happen. So I would like maybe, Chris, if you had a range up to 500 yards, I'd put a 2 minute target at each distance for sure, just to have fun hitting. But don't be afraid to get a bigger target. Get a smaller area, and also don't be afraid to put some small targets out there. Go down to 1 minute of angle. When I'm zeroing a rifle or confirming anything, I'll just use little 1-inch square stickers because I know it's my 1 minute at 100 yards, or you can take those stickers and put 4 in a grid, and there's a 2 minute size at 200. So I guess it depends on what you're doing with your training, but good question. I'm glad you're thinking about it. Alan asked a question. Thanks for chiming in, Alan. Well, I'm talking about scopes. How about a minimally priced scope for an AR 7.62 x 39 for tactical or target shooting? Well, for tactical, that word means everything nowadays. So I think a red dot, maybe, if you're shooting like a red dot scope. I love red dots. Again, a Vortex. I'm kind of a Vortex Leupold fanboy, if you can't tell. They're making some very, very, very high performing budget models. They're not necessarily professional grade, and I think the guys at Vortex will tell you that. One of their $100 or $200 red dots is not going to compete with an Aimpoint, but it's not trying to. It's something that you can put on a minimally priced scope for an AR for tactical target shooting. Even their PST line, or I think now it's just the Hunter Shooter Tactical line is what they're calling it. Those are some decent scopes. You can even do the Leupold Vari X3s. Some of their lower power 1-4s or 1-6 scopes are great. You see a lot of those at 3-gun matches, which I would consider a blend of tactical up close and also some far out shooting. So good questions, guys, really good. I need to make sure I haven't skipped anybody. I appreciate them. Bring in more questions, more comments. A lot of you guys are jumped on this video and following, which I appreciate, but it's going to get old having you guys hear me just talk to myself till you guys have some more questions. So what else can we talk about? I've got something. Don't pick on me for this. My new favorite rifle that I'm having fun shooting is an IWI Tavor, the X95. It is the silliest rifle I thought. Every time I saw it, I was like, why would you want that? It looks like it belongs in Starship Troopers. That's not a serious platform. You know, bullpups don't have good triggers. All these things. Well, I went ahead and got one anyway. I put in a Geissele trigger pack and a Geissele trigger, and holy smokes, that is a fun rifle to shoot. I now have that set up as just my rifle to grab because it is so reliable, ridiculously accurate for what I've been doing with it, and getting a 16-inch barreled rifle that when I shoulder it, I can reach out with my firing hand and I can put my finger over the tip of the barrel. That's how short it is. I can reach that far, but it's not an SBR and I can reach all the way out. I'm kind of a sucker for it. I'm really digging that Tavor, and I'll probably start putting some Instagram photos for you guys of me out shooting it or seeing what I can get it to do. Tommy asked SWFA, yeah, the Super Sniper, I think that's what you're talking about. It's a great scope. So Tasco first came out with that. It was kind of a joke. It was in the military when it came out, and when people asked us our opinion of it, they had some coming out for user testing. Tasco? No, we're not touching a Tasco scope. We want professional grade scopes. And I didn't test it, but a lot of the guys that did gave me the feedback. They were throwing those things on the range. They were putting them in their freezer, back at the hotel room and bringing it back out and shooting it. And everyone was blown away at how durable and how great it was. Now, that great feedback was when Tasco was doing it. I think the design's been sold to SWFA or they have it branded now. I'm not quite sure. But I've heard great results, great feedback about them still. My concern is you're going to get to a point where you might want a better scope someday. You might want some more features, and it's really hard to sell a used scope. So do it, or maybe get one of the more budget Vortexes and then maybe upgrade later. I leave it to you, but I would not fault you for getting an SWFA. Rob asked what's my favorite drill on the Laser app. The LASR is how they spell it, Laser app. First off, I put a post on it earlier today. Questions already coming in too fast. Put a post on earlier today about how much I love the system and the software and the company. The guys are great to work with. They give you 10% off if you put my last name in when you check out. So you can go buy the software and just put in Kleckner, C-L-E-C-K-N-E-R. It's on the Facebook page. And they'll give you 10% off your purchase. It gives me a little bit of love to fund the podcast also, which I'd appreciate. But what it is it's software that'll work on your computer and a webcam that just picks up a laser dot. So it's so simple. You put the webcam at the wall and you can designate anything you want on the wall to be the target. So on your screen, you can select a shape like the rectangle or a circle, and you can see a light switch on your screen. Just drag and highlight the light switch with the rectangle and designate as a certain target number. And you can do as many targets as you want, and then the software just knows if it sees a laser flash within that zone, it counts it as a hit. And you can put sound effects on it for the hits and misses, and you can do par times and drills and things like that. So a question from Rob was, what was my favorite drill? I don't have one, sorry. I really just like to set up an array, like a shooting gallery, and I put the sound effect on like it's steel hitting, so it sounds like I'm shooting steel. And if I'm just on a conference call or I have a chance, I'll take my CERT laser pistol trainer, draw and shoot, and just go back and forth. I've even taken a postage stamp, stuck it on the wall, and I made the target as small as I possibly could to see how accurate you could get, and it works. I mean, it makes you sit there and focus on the fundamentals and apply good trigger control to hit it, and it'll register the hit. So it is the coolest, cheapest, most fun way, I think, to dry fire train at home. And you can also save your drills that you make up and share them with your friends remotely and things like that. So let me see if I can scroll through some of the questions here. Okay, good, here we go. Eddie. Sorry I passed you up, man. Eddie says, the first book was great. Thank you, I appreciate it. How about the second book? Oh, Eddie, I thought the second book would be done last month, and I'm nowhere close to even halfway done. I'm trying to cover every other subject I could cover in the second book. I'm trying to make it like the advanced version. So I'm going to talk much more about reloading. I'm going to talk much more about actual ballistics, much more about the software and how to use it, and all the little intricacies and nuances that I didn't cover before. And actually the beginning of the book is probably going to be one chapter that says, I know you think you're advanced, I know you think you're great, But put this book down and go buy the beginning book if you don't know these topics. Because I know a lot of people see that word beginner and want to skip over it. But if you look at the feedback on Amazon I'm getting, it's from guys that are accomplished shooters that are admitting, wow, they actually learned something or getting the fundamentals right. So maybe I'll put a couple quizzes in that first chapter that says, if you can't answer these or don't understand this, please stop. So yeah, Eddie, about a third to a half of it is going to be reloading principles, how to tailor your load, how to do things like that. And it'll be a lot more covered in the book. Paul, when are we going to see your new rifle line? Within a couple months. I actually have in my new shop, so this is my new office, going to be studio. I apologize for the echo. I just got this new place, which is going to be great. I'm going to be able to have the videos coming out for instructional series. I'm hoping to have a kind of like online courses you guys will be able to follow along with. I'll be able to do more things like this. And then beneath this is my new shop where I can actually do all the rifle work down there. And the AR-15s are getting tested now. I've teased some of the uppers and lowers and everything, and I've been having a prototype I'm working with right now that I took out to the range last weekend and this weekend. So the new rifle line's coming soon. Bolt actions probably won't be till another 6 months. I know it's a long time, but I've already been getting so much interest for them. And just for the lead time, I'm not going to be able to get them out to just even put one up on a website for order because so many are either already spoken for or just waiting on parts. So I guess that's a good problem to have. But thanks for asking, Paul. Alan, would I care to speak about the comparisons between AR-223-556 versus AR-762-39 for effectiveness in a conflict situation? Well, Alan, I am not the biggest AR-15 fan. I mean, that's what I spent probably the way more time training and using. It's actually very ergonomic. It's a great system. I should give it more credit than I do. I really like AK-47s. They're not near as ergonomic. They're not, pound for pound, they're not as accurate. But AK-47s can be made accurate like an AR-15 if you use the same quality components. But one of the reasons I like the AK-47 is it throws bigger rocks. I like the 7.62x39 bullet way more than I like the 223 for close in, for what I'd call, I don't know, out to 300 yards, combat effective distance. I love that 7.62x39. Now, putting it in an AR though, I'm not a fan of. One, magazines don't seem to work very well. The magazine on AR-15 has to be so straight at the top to make it into the mag well before it can curve. You often have magazine problems because there's such an extreme taper on the 7.62x39 case. That's why the AK magazine is so curved, is allow for that taper. So you're gonna have magazine problems. The other problem you're gonna have is your bolt face needs to be so big for the base of that 7.62x39 in an AR-15 that you don't have much support anymore on the bolt face. It's just too big for that system. And the other thing is an AR-15 is the only gun that really kind of craps where it eats, right? It puts all of its exhaust gases right back to where it feeds. And with that junk 7.62x39 out there, including lacquer, including everything else, you're just gonna be blowing back into your action. So although I still like ARs, I prefer things like the Remington version of the ACR. I'm really liking the Tavor now, things like that. And I really love AKs. I just have never come around to the AK round in an AR, which is probably why I own a 300 Blackout in just about every type of gun you can picture. From pump action, yes, pump action, to bolt action, to semi-autos, to single shots. If you guys remind me someday, I'll tell you the whole story about the pump action 300 Blackout that I made. But that's why I like it, because it gets me 7.62x39 performance in an AR platform because the case is a better design. So Alan, I hope that helps you. For conflict situation though, something to be said about having a gun that uses the magazines that my enemy uses. Who knows? All right, it's a little Red Dawn-ish though. All right, Eric has a comment. Eric says, I'm sure I have some bad shooting habits that I don't know I have. What are the most common bad habits you've helped people overcome? Without a doubt, not focusing on the reticle of the scope. Let's just go back to the beginning. Not setting the scope up to themselves. I have professional shooters. I mean, absolute professional shooters that had more experience working as a sniper than me that would come to me in a sniper school and they would have their scope set up improperly, or they wouldn't know how to do it properly just because the military never really covered it right, or they just didn't know. So first, getting the scope set up so it fits you. The analogy I give for that one is expecting a professional race car driver to drive a race car when the seats and the pedals and the steering wheel are set up for somebody else. You're just never going to get the performance you want out of it, no matter how good of a driver you are. So first, setting the gun up properly. Second is focusing on the reticle. Almost everybody loves to look beyond the reticle at the target. That's one of the reasons I don't like super high magnification, is it makes this giant pretty target for you to peek at. And you end up looking past that reticle and not realizing the reticle drifts off the target. It causes problems. The other is just good trigger control. So I will, as a mantra, say to students all the time when they're having trouble, missing a target, I'll come up to them, focus on the reticle, steady pressure on the trigger. Focus on the reticle, steady pressure on the trigger. And it usually works. It usually turns, misses and frustration into a hit. Further on down the line, not having as stable of a position as they could have. Of course, having the wrong dope, reading the wrong wind, things like that. But Eric, right now, go make sure you're focusing on the reticle and only the reticle when you're shooting, and make sure you're dry firing your rifle like crazy. Dry fire that rifle more than you're firing it with live ammunition to make sure you have good trigger control, and it'll hopefully make you a better shooter. Andrew, thanks for asking a question, Andrew. You asked about, what about suppressors? You shot a Harvester big bore in your 338 Lapua and was surprised to discover its accuracy. Any preferences? You got my book, Before a Precision course. Let me see more. And it helped immensely. Good. I'm glad my book helped. There's a few courses out there that have been sending me pictures. One in particular, STA Training. Jared Johnson, guy I recommend all the time. If you want to go get in-person training, he's the guy to go to. Jared Johnson at STA Training. He was doing the McMillan Sniper course and things like that for them. And what was nice is I'd get pictures from it and you'd see my book peeking out of bags, and that was very flattering. But your question about suppressors, I don't know what you mean, Andrew. A good suppressor, or I call them silencers. I know that's like taboo in the industry, but a good silencer on a good rifle should make it more accurate. So my experience with quality equipment is that your accuracy and the group size will actually shrink with the silencer on the rifle. People are up for debate on whether that's letting the turbulence get out of the way of the bullet a little bit better, whether that's just increasing velocity, whether it's giving the bullet a chance to kick and then kind of straighten out again through the exit. I don't know. All I know is quality silencer threaded properly and put onto a quality rifle, accuracy actually will increase. Now, it won't always go to the same spot. So you'll actually, I shouldn't say accuracy increases, precision increases. The accuracy might not, because it might shift it. And you might need to know where your silencer shifts your certain rounds. But when you say you shot the Harvester big bore, let me know what you mean on you were surprised that it was better or that it was worse. I'm assuming it was better because that's most of the effect. Now, I've had arguments with people that the opposite is true. Your experience might have been different. I don't know. I even had a career special operations guy, super well known, running these courses. We're sitting at a dinner before some event, and he was running a course with some of the people at the table the next day, and I was just talking to him and seeing how things were going, and he was talking about how silencers are horrible and the worst thing ever, and they make things inaccurate, and I just couldn't get it through to him to give it a try. And I think that's maybe the old military, mindset of what they used to be or what they used to say, but it's just not true anymore. You want a more accurate platform, get a shorter barrel and put a quality silencer on it, and you'll probably be better off than if you had a barrel of the exact same overall length. So Andrew, I hope that helps you. Bobby, you like the shirt? If you don't have any, we need to get you some. So you let me know if you need some shirts, and I'll hound Ed to make sure you get a shirt. You may need a prequel to the first book. False humility, Bobby. You don't at all. I appreciate your support, man. Bobby West is from CGS Rifles. If you guys don't know about him yet, you've got to check him out. If you saw my article in Recoil Magazine, I'll let out the secret that I'm working with Bobby to try and get the work done on my rifles, because the stuff he does and just working with him is so great that I actually used his rifle as the sample to see what I was going to like for my rifles, and that's what's featured in the Angles article in Recoil Magazine, is one of Bobby's just gorgeous rifles. He's also making some really cool silencers, and he's breaking the mold on tactical tan and black and things like that, which is really kind of cool. He's got some wild colors and making some really cool products. The last couple 22 silencers I've recommended have been Bobby's, so he's doing great work, and I need to order a heck of a lot more. So thanks for your support, Bobby. You guys should go check him out. Alan, you're welcome. Albert Quackenbush, how you doing, man? Albert's been a great supporter of me and my projects, and I really appreciate it. He's asking, having some issues with his rounds getting stuck in the chamber of his Remington 700-300 Win Mag. He found certain brasses backed off by 1,000th, and there are scrape marks on the cartridge. There seem to be burrs inside. Let's read the rest. The chamber, which I've heard is common. Instead of sending the barrel back to Remington, would I ever use lapping compound on a large swab with a drill to clear it if you went slow? Or did you just go to a gunsmith? Go to a gunsmith. But the first part of your question is, yeah, I would probably do it myself and mess it up. So go to a gunsmith. When you're dealing with headspace and chambers, those are some of the things that although I just admitted I would do and probably mess up myself, I would never want to recommend to you for you to mess up, something on your rifle. Unfortunately, Albert, I've heard the same thing. 700, the chambers that comes from the factory, or especially the barrel to the throat, it's not going to be as smooth or as polished, or it's going to be rough cut compared to a higher quality, more precision rig. But it's what you can expect or good for the price point. So I'm not trying to knock it and say it's bad. I'm just saying it's also not a high-end custom rig. So they found the certain brass scrape marks on the cartridge. Yeah, so I guess it could be the burrs in there. I've actually had burr bad enough in a chamber that it ripped my brass in half. That the brass that ejected looked like a pistol cartridge because it cut the brass perfectly flat as it came out, and the front half of the brass was still stuck in the chamber. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take my answer back. Go for broke. Try polish it if you want. I don't know how slow I'd go. You might as well go quick to get the polishing working. Just please be careful on getting into where the headspace is. Make sure you clean that lapping compound out well. But also don't be afraid to send it back to Remington. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that they won't take care of you and get you a new barrel. I can understand your concern, though, that you might just get the same kind of thing back. I wish I had a better answer for you, man. Nick, welcome. Eric, you're welcome. Joel, what are my go-to wind reading procedures? Oh, this is going to be a bad answer, Joel. How do I go on this one? I don't have one procedure, and it's really hard to actually teach reading wind. Reading wind is really the art to the science of long-range shooting. It really is. Some of the best shooters out there aren't the best group shooters. They're the best at reading the wind. I'm not saying I'm one of the best shooters, but I will tell you the group thing, I don't group that well. I get a half-minute of angle group and I'm jumping up and down for the day. I call that a win for the day. I don't sit there and shoot tiny groups. I get it under a minute and I'm happy, but I'd rather go out and shoot targets. So somebody that's next to me that might be able to shoot these perfect, pretty groups all day, every day, when they and I try to race out to different targets and different distances and back, I can hit those targets faster, even though they shot better groups. Just different styles of shooting, I guess. But some of the difference comes to putting the fundamentals into practice, which is reading the wind and things like that. I think the best way to read the wind is mirage. Even in the snow, you can see the mirage, which is the heat waves up in the air. Now the problem is, what do you do with that information, right? You can see the wind's going a certain speed at a certain direction, but it might be going another direction at another distance, and you need to then figure out, well, is the closer wind going to affect it more? When the bullet's faster, so it won't be exposed as long, but if it gets knocked off course earlier, then that magnifies later. There's a whole lot going on, and this is a bad answer. But after a while, you kind of start seeing the wind, you see it. I jokingly say like the Matrix. For a long time, all you're dealing with numbers and calculations, and after a while, you just see it. That's kind of how I am with wind, and I'm so handicapped to the 308 because I spent so much time with that. I start with the 308, then convert. So if I'm shooting like a 6.5, I'll be looking through a scope and say, it looks about 3/4 left. And then I'll cut it down from the 308 to the 6.5. The reason I think it's a bad answer is I think there's a big difference between people that can do and people that can actually teach what they do. For a while, I used to tell people, I got this from somebody else, but the best golfer in the world for a time used to be Tiger Woods, but he still had a coach. So if Tiger was the best, he still went with somebody else who wasn't as good as him at golfing, but was maybe better at teaching. And so I pride myself on my ability to teach, except when it comes to wind. I've almost got to sit down with somebody or put together a really good video to show it, because there's just so much feel, there's so much of the art involved. And even the calculations that people will give you, they'll admit only work to a certain distance or only work in certain circumstances. So man, I'm sorry. Mirage is my best wind reading procedure. I use my gut, or maybe a little bit of calculations if it's a new cartridge for me, to be able to figure it out just through experience and what I see. But it's tough. I mean, in the military, our senior guy was the spotter, and that was because he had more experience and he was able to read the wind. well, the other guy could just shoot, because anybody can learn to shoot. It gets harder doing the other way around. So I hope that helps. Yeah, Bobby, you're welcome, man. I'll see you at SHOT. I look forward to seeing everyone there that gets there. Albert, good. That feedback worked for you. Happy. All right, Matt commented, my YouTube videos are awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Somebody referred to those YouTube videos a year ago, and they said those videos that Ryan did a really long time ago. I was like, what? Really long time ago? It was only a few years. Well, I guess in internet age, those are like ancient now. So thank you, Matt. If you were tuned in enough, you've heard this is going to be my new studio. I have a few hundred square feet to play with. I'm excited. I have lighting equipment and things coming in, and maybe I'll be doing some more videos. But the real key to those videos being successful, I think, was the editing. And that was Dave Miles. He did those, and he moved on to be the head of marketing for Mossberg. So maybe, Matt, we can bug Dave and help him be encouraged to come help me lay out some videos and edit some more. Adam, what's my favorite shooting range? I kind of have two. My favorite shooting range just to go to shoot on a regular basis is down by me here in Tennessee, Strategic Edge. It is kind of a long-range shooter's dream. Steel targets out to 1250. They're putting in steel targets out to a mile. They have video cameras and all the targets from 600 and out. You can just open the TV screen where you're shooting. They have go-karts for you to go, or golf carts to go check your targets. And everyone there is just polite, professional. It's run by Tony Schenkel. That guy, I'm just going to soak up as much as I can learn from him, even before I write the second book, because that guy's forgotten probably more than I know. So it's nice to be down there. Now, my favorite range to go play to, the range where I'm the absolute happiest, is Texas Triggers. It's Colby Donaldson's ranch in Texas. That place is a wonderland. It is zip lines, shooting submachine guns at floating reactive steel targets. It is, long ranges with LaRue interactive targets out to 1,000. It's pistol play areas. It's just a wonderful place to go. So if you guys have the time and the money, go sign up for Texas Triggers weekend, especially if it's a long range weekend. I'll be the one out there teaching anyway. So maybe you can that'll probably be the cheapest way, honestly, to get a couple of days of one-on-one instruction with me. If Albert supports Kleckner, then Albert can ship his rifle to CGS Group. We'll make it work right at no charge. Albert, what a deal! Yes, I support. Yeah, Albert's been supportive of me. He's been great. He wrote a nice review of the book. Bobby, you're the man. Now, everyone else, don't get any ideas. Don't bother CGS with all the problems. Start bothering me, then I'll bother CGS. But seriously, guys, thank you. That's amazing. Bobby and Albert, I got the shipping, okay? So Albert, you let me know. I'll pay to ship it back and forth so Bobby doesn't actually have to pay for it. And if Bobby does the work, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks. Bobby says, Remington keeps you custom rifle guys in business. That's kind of true. Chris says, Texas Triggers is the best. Of course it is, Chris, because you and I are the ones that teach there. Chris LaValle just chimed in, guys. A great guy. Wish I get to hang around him more. We live too far apart. But we'll teach together out there at the Texas Triggers range. And I've never seen a guy get more excited when the guests that are out there learning to shoot from us hit the 1,000-yard target. So again, you got the time and money. Go out there for a weekend, and maybe you'll get me and Chris or just one of the other of us just teaching you hands-on for the whole weekend. You'll get Colby's mom cooking amazing food. It's a great deal. Bo asked, what's my thoughts on the Horus 59? I love it. It's awesome. When it first came out, I was skeptical because I was stuck in the whole, you got to have a mil dot and dial your dope. But I was an early adopter. I actually bought one of the Horus branded scopes, late 2002, early 2003. I bought the scopes they're actually making. Now the scope was good for a while, but then it actually broke. And I liked it because of the reticle so much. So if that tells you, Bo, I think it was a couple $1,000 scope just because of the reticle. So now, buying a scope that has that style reticle in it, definitely worth it. Those Razor Gen 2s that I use, one of the reasons I use them is they have that, what they call a Christmas tree reticle in them. It just makes shooting so much faster. And if you guys know me, you know that I care less about dialing this precise, perfect shot and more about just getting on target and shooting. And those quick reticles really help it. Carl, love the book and videos. Thanks for sharing. Of course, man. I was just talking to my wife earlier, though. I got to figure out how many of these I can keep doing and the podcasts because I'm happy to sell books. I'm happy for you guys to buy them. I'm loving building rifles and everything. But I want to make sure I'm giving you guys as much information as you need, but also that I make it worth my time. I don't know how to better say that. So if you guys are liking this and getting good feedback and questions, well then I'll still be here doing them. So just remind me if life gets in the way and I get too busy and I don't do enough of these. So thanks, Carl. Rob, thoughts on the Tremor 3 reticle? No good or bad about it. It's interesting. I don't have a whole lot of experience on it. So I guess that means I'm not a huge fan of it. It doesn't mean I have a problem with it. I just like some other reticles better. Some of those reticles that have really good ideas, like let's say the TMR, I think is a neat reticle. That's the tactical milling reticle from Leupold. The problem with it though is it has a gap in the middle. Drives me crazy. As you just heard me say a little while ago, is you got to focus on the reticle. Well, by putting a hole in the reticle that makes you look through the reticle to the target. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Like the reticle and the concept, but it makes it hard to shoot. So on those types of reticles, I'll actually move from the center of the reticle's aiming point to like the tip of the bottom post, just so I have one spot to really stare at. So Adam says, awesome, keep up the good work. Adam, not you, but another Adam, won the El Cheapo rifle. If you guys were following along, I built that obnoxious rifle for like $376, I think was a dollar amount. My cousin Jason and I, if you listen to my podcast, you're familiar with Jason, we had a contest on who could build the cheapest AR-15 that still worked. And we made rules like the parts had to be commercially sourced, so there was no buddy deals or anything like that. And mine was obnoxious. Just scroll down this page and you can find more information about the contest and pictures of the rifle. Well, I held a contest on this page to give the rifle away for free. Just why not? And another Adam won it, and he just took possession of it at his FFL in his home state. So I already bugged him and I want some pictures and some feedback about it. So I hope you guys get to see that there. Diego, you just got the book for Christmas. Great book. Keep up the hard work. Also, the podcast is amazing. Thank you, man. I'm really worried about the podcast because it's hard to speak into a microphone and not get the feedback right away. This is helpful because I can see what's going on. The podcast, I worry I'm just kind of talking into the air. So if you like it, great. I'll keep it up. You guys can help me with the podcast is by spreading the word. If you go tell someone else to listen to it, I see the download numbers. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll watch and see how many people download the podcast. And so far, it's grown each time. That's a good sign. If you guys help me by keeping that up, by telling more people about it, that'll encourage me, I guess, to do it more. So thanks for the feedback, Diego. I'm starting to become guests on other people's podcasts too. So there's a podcast called the Hunt Backcountry Podcast. You guys should check them out. I recorded a couple episodes with them that'll be coming out in the future. And next week I'll be on the We Like Shooting podcast. I hope that's not a big secret because I just told you. That'll be fun, so you guys should check them out too. There's a lot of great folks out there doing podcasts and giving out free information too. So for those of you that just joined later, I talked about at the beginning of the video, if you're going to SHOT, if you're in the industry and going to SHOT, stop by the Hornady booth on Wednesday. I forget the time, the event's on this page. I'll be signing copies of the Long Range Shooting Handbook in person. So it'll be a chance to meet you, get a personal autograph to the book, and I'm going to make sure all the money goes to the Sua Sponte Foundation and the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. So I won't be selling them, but I'll be taking donations for those guys. I just speed talked for 51 minutes. Look, I think I got through all the questions. Let me refresh just to make sure for everyone putting in. Mitch gave another question, and a tough one. When's my new book coming out, man? I don't know. I'm sorry. I was hoping with December. I was obviously missed Christmas. I'm guessing by June. Part of the problem is just, life gets in the way. Just moved. I've got two awesome little kids I like spending time with. Like to get to the range, doing the rifle line, the podcast, and this. I know it's all excuses, but I just got behind on the book. Also, my day job got in the way. I'm an attorney for FFLs all across the country. And that takes a lot of time dealing with the clients and everything like that. And I teach at the University of Alabama. I teach constitutional law. I overcommit myself a little bit, and it ends up having me not get the book out. So June, July, this summer, Mitch, maybe what I'll do is I'll just start putting like pre-orders up, because that's what happened to this book. I put pre-orders up, and once a few people started buying them, I felt obligated or guilted into having to get the book done in time. So that was good motivation. So Rob says he'll see me there. Awesome, Rob. Look forward to seeing you at SHOT. I'm only going to be there for an hour. Please show up just so I don't feel stupid sitting there for an hour by myself. I appreciate it. Ed, thanks for chiming in with the details. January 18th, that's the Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. local time there. That'll be Pacific time. And Hornady's booth is 13145. So stop by, come check it out. And even better, do me a favor, everybody. Go give Hornady some love. Thank them for doing this, because that's what it's all kind of about, is, you know, we can share and help each other's businesses. And they're taking a good bet on me by allowing me to be there and doing this. So if you guys dropped them a note or on their Facebook page, or at least when you stop by and get a book, if you're going to be there, make sure and thank them, because they're supporting me, and I'll do the same thing to support them. So some takeaways. Hope I answered your questions. Go check out that Tavor. I know you're going to pick on me for it, but I'm loving it. It's weird and it's kind of fun to shoot. I appreciate all the support on my book, guys. You guys have been amazing. And I think I got most of the questions answered. Well, let's see. We got one more from Wade here. He's interested in obtaining a hunting rifle in a caliber that has sufficient energy for elk-sized game. It ranges up to 800 yards, but can also be used on a bench to steal targets at over 1,000 yards. Does any caliber rifle immediately come to mind? Yeah, those new Nosler calibers, honestly. 28 Nosler, that'd be awesome for that. 30 Nosler would be awesome for that. 300 Rum would work for that. That'd be a great one. The 300 Rum is a neat one where you can really easily load it up and down to the different power levels, but you can do the same thing with those new Nosler cartridges, so those are great. But 300 Win Mag, that'll work, man. I mean, 300 Win Mag, for how much it can kick you in the teeth to shoot, you know, for its power, and for however much I don't like those belted magnums to reload, it's a tried and true cartridge. You can find it anywhere. You fly to a hunt in Alaska and you realize that you forgot your ammo, you can go to probably a gas station in Alaska and find a box of 300 Win Mag. So there's a good reason just to get the 300 Win Mag, is everyone's got it and it's going to work for you. So don't be afraid to do the tried and trues. Don't always chase the new one. But if you asked me to work with Bobby to build your rifle for your purpose, I'd probably say 28 Nosler is what I'd build it in, because it's just such a great, powerful cartridge to reach out there and touch something with plenty of energy. So I tell you what, guys, it has been 55 minutes. Love your guys' support. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to see more of these, drop me a note. Let me know that you want to see more of these. Give me some questions in advance so I can help prep a little bit. Thank you for everything, guys. You guys have been great. You keep giving to me and giving to other people like you guys have. I'll keep doing these free things for you. Soon, not yet, Kleckner.co is going to be my new website. I'm going to consolidate everything there. That's going to have the rifles. That's going to have the books, the next book, the other books. I got 5 books in the pipeline right now, guys. I got 5 books I've outlined right now. I'm going to do other things besides just shooting. I'm going to be doing land navigation, rock climbing. I'll do like what I kind of consider a Ranger 101 type courses. And now with the new studio, I'm going to be putting together actual video courses. I'm hoping to have 5, 7, 10 video, segment courses that you could pay for, pay a few bucks for, and I will just, like, I'm teaching you right to the camera, step by step, how to get your rifle set up, how to shoot, how to diagnose problems, how to reload. I don't know how the pricing is going to work out for that, but I hope to make it a system that rewards you for being a subscriber for a smaller fee to have access to that. Appreciate it, guys. Again, take care. Go support CGS, or better yet, just buy the rifles from me and I'll just have CGS help me build them anyway. If you want some t-shirts, let me know. I'll bug Ed to try and get some t-shirts to try and either give out or send out. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Take care.